Hello, friends. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica, and I'm a relationship coach and mentor. And in this video, we are going to talk about grounding back into our authentic truth, our divine nature, so that we can stop living as somebody else. Because who wants to play somebody else? If you want to play a role and be somebody else, then you should be an actor or an actress. But when it comes to life, the only way to live is connected to the truth of who we really are. Because the way that the law of attraction works, like attracts like. And so, if you are showing up in a space of inauthenticity, you are, let's be real, showing up fake. You will attract other fake people who are inauthentic and also disconnected from their truth. And so basically what it looks like is if you are showing up not living in your truth, you're basically living in ego, and you're going to attract somebody else into your life that is living from their ego as well. And so pretty much you have your true authentic self. Here, we're sticks, okay? Stick people. This is actually how I draw people because I am not artistic. So we've got sticks. This is our true essence. This is how we came into the world as beautiful sticks made in the image of our creator, okay? But what happens is when you are living in ego, you get, like, you're living with like an identity, okay? We'll just call this an identity and this other person, okay? So, oh, looky there. We got two, like, people covered, okay? Their true essence is covered. And so you attract other people like that. And so instead of having an authentic, conscious relationship with each other, you have this ego thing, this ego dynamic that's going on, and you have this mask on, and really you can't allow yourself to be fully seen by the other person until you drop the identities, you drop the masks. But unfortunately, most people aren't showing up as their true stick selves. And I am also guilty of that in past relationships, showing up as the person that I thought that they wanted me to show up as. And in one particular relationship, that meant that I was to start using heroin. Otherwise, I felt like he would have left me if I didn't start using heroin with him. And so that relationship disconnected me the most from my truth. Thank God that's over. And so learning from that relationship, I realized that it just isn't worth it for me to not show up as my true authentic self. And so I am covered in ants right now as I'm out here. I'd like to say I'm out in nature, but I'm really in my backyard. It's as close to nature as I can get right now. And I wanted to film this in nature because that helps us to remember the truth of who we are. The divine creatures that we are. There's just something about being in nature, and I can feel the wind breezing through my hair. And I'm sitting on the earth without any shoes on. And I can take a deep breath. And what I can do is I can watch the little bugs playing. I can watch the animals live as their true selves. And when I'm out in nature, I wonder, why can't the humans live more authentically, right? We have been denying the truth of who we are for thousands of years. And a lot of it comes down to getting our needs met and fear. And we fear that showing up as our true selves will not allow us to get our needs met. And this is the kind of thinking that we need to be done with. Done. Showing up as an inauthentic person in past relationships almost cost me my life because I was so disconnected from the truth that I was, from the truth of who I was. And it's not worth it. And, I kind of have this wave of oh, I'm living in my truth, I'm being authentic, and then it's kind of oh, now I'm actually more concerned with what you think of me. And this past 2 weeks, I took a little break from social media because I realized I was showing up as just this polished perfect person, polished perfection. And that's not who I am. Anybody can edit a photo in Photoshop. And anybody can put on some fancy clothes. But if that's not who you really are, then why are you posting those pictures? Because you want people to see this perfect image of you that doesn't exist. Perfection doesn't exist within anybody. And I have been a perfectionist my entire life, since I was a little girl. And the reason perfectionism served me as a child was because it allowed me to get my needs met. And it allowed me to run from some really terrible things that were happening in my life at that time, which was sexual abuse. And so as long as I could hold on to this perfectionism, it meant that everything was okay. And I can still see myself reverting back to that kind of thinking sometimes, well, as long as I'm perfect, as long as I portray that image to the world that I'm perfect, everybody else will think that I am. And that means I'm okay, and it means that I'm loved, and it means that I'm accepted, and it means that I belong. But really what that means is that I'm denying the truest parts of myself by not showing up as is and speaking from my heart, all because sometimes I'm terrified that people are gonna think that I'm a fucking weirdo. And I am a weirdo. I haven't really ever fit in. Maybe when I was a kid I had an illusion that I fit in, but as I got older and experienced a lot of depression, I realized I'm an old soul and I have seen some shit in my life, and I felt like I really didn't belong amongst any type of people. And I felt it so hard for myself to label myself as anything, because I kind of felt like I was just a little bit of everyone. And, you know, I had an awakening 7.5 years ago. I had a spiritual awakening after I went to rehab. That's a story for another video. I had an awakening and I woke up to the truth of who I was as pure, divine light and love. And I felt myself as not really human, but this observer person in Jessica Kosine's body with past memories of things that have happened, but who are all these people in my life? Who are my family? If I'm just this observer of this body that I was gifted. And it was such a weird time in my life for me to experience all of these profound revelations when I was in rehab in a space where I didn't have access to the internet, to Google. What the hell is going on with me? All I knew was that I was a spiritual being. And the more I talked about this new consciousness that I had, the more I got rejected. And for the first time in my life, 7.5 years ago, I was being my true self. And still, that wasn't good enough for everybody. And I was so rejected that I realized why I hadn't been my true self my whole life. It was because of the biggest thing that I feared was that if I was my truest self, that it still wouldn't be good enough for anybody. And so the past 7.5 years, it's been me just wearing different identities, still trying to fit in, trying to find my place in the world, all because I want love and belonging. I want to be accepted. But it's such an illusion. It doesn't matter if anybody accepts me, as long as I accept me for who I am. And my creator accepts me for who I am. And so I really, really, really want to invite each and every one of you watching this to start stepping into your true self. And I guarantee you, you're going to lose a lot of relationships. And it's sad. And it's sad because it's like a video game, okay? You start at level 1 and then you get through all of those obstacles. You go to level 2. Okay, it's like now the people that were in level 1 are not the same people that are in level 2. And so you lose all of those people, right? But then you go to level 2 because that's just the natural path where your life is taking you. And so you go to level 2 and you defeat all of those obstacles. And then it's like level up, level 3. Now all of those people are gone, you know? And so sometimes we don't always keep the same relationships in our life as we grow, as we continue to grow. Not everybody is going to accept us and like us as our true selves because they've benefited from us not living our truth. And so it really comes down to being okay with you. Being so okay with you and loving you for who you are that if and when a person in your life just no longer vibes with you anymore, that they leave and you can just be grateful that they were in your life for a season. But ultimately, you've got to find the people that are going to support you living your most authentic, truest version. The truth that shall set you free. William Shakespeare. Hundreds of years ago, right? I want to say that was Romeo and Juliet, but I think it might be Hamlet. I think it was Hamlet. That was a long time ago, high school. And so that still holds true today. The truth shall set you free. We've got to start living in our truth, shining our light onto the world, to be role models for the younger generations. I have an 8-year-old child, and I know that she picks up on these things that I do. Do I want to show her to live as a version of herself that everybody else accepts? Or am I going to teach her to live her truth and to follow her heart so she can be the most authentic her that she can be, no matter if anybody likes her? That's what I want her to see in me, that I'm living authentically, and therefore she's got the courage to live authentically because she's seen her mom do it. And when each and every one of us step up more into our truth, no matter what anybody else thinks, they still keep living their truth, we are giving those other people who are afraid to live their truth the courage to show up authentically as themselves. So I invite you. Let's step into our truth, because there is no other way. I don't want to be a mannequin. I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to be living in a mask where nobody sees me. I want to leave this world knowing that I shared my heart openly and honestly with the world, and that by doing that, someone else was able to step up and share their heart openly and honestly. And I always say, if I just can touch one life, my mission here is complete. Will you be that one life today? I love each and every one of you. Namaste.